Happy holidays, Gym Army. Now this is video 1 in my 4-part series on eating for the holidays without it derailing your nutrition plan. Starting today through Tuesday, I'll be giving you one tip every day that'll help you deal with eating for the holidays. And I'm not talking about things like how to make low-fat pumpkin pie or low-carb mashed potatoes. No, I'm all about enjoying yourself for the holidays and still being shredded to the bone. Yes, it's possible if you listen to my tips. I'm talking about tips that'll help you enjoy all your favorite holiday feast food. Now, tip number 1 is when you have ample time to prepare. For example, here in the US, Thursday is Thanksgiving. So what do you do for Thanksgiving? Well, look guys, don't worry about the pumpkin pie, the desserts, all the fixins. You can enjoy them all if you prep accordingly. All you have to do is basically drop your carbs. Now what I'll typically do is about a week before I know I'm gonna have a huge feast, I'll start slashing my carbs, dropping them down to about 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. And then starting tomorrow, Monday, I'll actually slash my carbs down to 0.25 grams. So someone like me around 200 pounds, I'm a bit over 200 pounds, but let's just round down to 200 pounds. That means at 0.25 grams per pound of body weight, I'm only allowed 50 grams of carbs per day. And those carbs will add up from your non-carb food. So you're basically eating no carbs for the few days leading up to Thanksgiving. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, drop all carbs. You're only eating protein and fat. Now if you undereat for too long, you'll start losing muscle mass. But when it's only for a few days and then you follow it with a refeeding, such as a Thanksgiving Day feast, instead of all that fat and carbs going into fat storage and causing you to gain body fat, most of it's going to be going to recover your muscle mass. So a lot of it's going to be put back into glycogen storage, repairing the muscle tissue. In fact, doing this every once in a while, undereating and then overeating, is actually positive for muscle growth. Now, there's no real hardcore data in the lab, but what I've been seeing working with the thousands of clients that I work with, that doing these short periods where you're basically undereating and then overeating actually works well. You sort of think of it as overtraining. When you overtrain, if you follow one of my programs like my daily grind, where you're trying to reach an overtraining state. You're basically what we call doing overreaching. But as long as you pull back and then give yourself some rest, so basically what you do is you overtrain for a period, then you stop the training, give yourself a nice rest. Research shows that when subjects do that, they actually gain strength and muscle mass during the resting period, more so than they would had they not overreached and then rested. So it's sort of the same concept. There's two ways to really overtrain. One is to train a lot, excessive training. The other is to undereat. So essentially what you're doing with your training while you're undereating during this period is you're basically sort of overreaching. And then what happens is when you have that meal finally, the Thanksgiving meal, that restores the glycogen, the muscle protein, and then you essentially get a boost in muscle growth, if you will. So again, if you're getting ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday or whatever it is, could be Christmas dinner, Christmas Eve dinner, those 3 or 4 days prior to that feast. So I'll be starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, literally cutting all my carbs out, essentially about 0.25 grams per pound of body weight. But the 4 days prior to those, I'm already down to 0.5 grams as it is. That's gonna then, when you overeat on that feast day, whatever it is, if it's Thanksgiving this Thursday, it's essentially going into recovery and possibly further boosting muscle growth. So give that a try. Check back tomorrow on tip number 2. My tip number 2 through 4 will be more sort of dire straits, if you will, tips on what to do sort of last minute when you really don't have time to prepare. It's still easy and you can still eat most of what you want. So enjoy the holidays, guys, with these tips, and always stay Gym Army strong.